I came here with the idea of understanding the urban context better for my work in aging, and actually it has really helped me both professionally and personally. So I'll start with the professional first. Sitting in a classroom with an architect, a planner, an environmental scientist, the kind of interdisciplinarity that actually exists in UFP, it's amazing, and it is what has helped me learn a lot. So I have been taught, say, some part of sociology, but by somebody with a public health background, but learning from people who are also practicing. So it's not just academics. And learning from people like that, it has brought a kind of perspective which I don't think learning from, say, reading by myself these subjects or just attending an online tutorial would have helped. So it's the classroom experience of being with people from like varied backgrounds is an understatement for it. It's a wide variety of people, and also learning from people who come from different backgrounds and still work together. It's very fascinating for me. I think professionally I have clearer questions, and personally I have really good friends now, and they come from all kind of backgrounds. That's a question even I've reflected on. And I think day before yesterday when we had the high tea with Aro, kind of got a sense of why this feels different from where I've been before. So I've worked in a medical college, in a very grassroots level NGO, an international NGO, and also an international institution. I studied at King's. But it's when Aru was talking about what UFP is based on, it's based on the core constitutional values, he said, of fraternity, equality, and liberty. And I think the faculty here also imbibes that values even in our conversations with them. So it's a very safe space and an open space to talk to discuss not just the doubts that you have of your syllabus, but what am I going to do with my life? Or, oh, I have a research idea. Can you help me with it? And it's like they are very busy, but they still find time to organize office hours. I remember especially Sudeshna's before the internships. She had office hours from 9 in the morning till 5 in the evening, simply so that she could help us decide. And that was that kindness, I think, comes out of their own belief in the core constitutional values. Not to say that other faculties don't do that, but maybe, or in other places, maybe it's not very much. In practice, or it's somewhere lost in say in like in the clinic. You are a different person, but then you don't have enough time to be the same person with the student in a sense, or the way you structure your course. So all of these, I guess, come together and make the faculty here very different. I think kindness, empathy, and they really invested in us. I'm somebody who has stage fear, so I literally tremble when I'm on stage, and it has been constant forever. But my stage fear came down here because in Practica we were working in a group, and my group was very supportive in that way. So we used to practice, and I used to see other people talking and the way they talk, and it was a very comfortable environment because by the time we have had multiple presentations, but we've been living together also. So at this point of time, I'm not really worried about presenting in front of 40 people because I like 40 people I'm presenting in front of. So that has really helped me overcome some of the stage fear that I had. And I've also learned some tricks from my colleagues. So the soft skills bit, it really helped me there. The 40 people I live with and work with have helped me. And in terms of the skill lab skills, so I took skill labs, especially in the elective session, which were very climate specific. So there was one on climate analysis, then there was one on IoT. So I come from a medical background, but now I think the skill lab on IoT has taught me the basics of at least reading on something that is the Internet of Things, something I would have been very afraid of initially. So it was structured that way. It's structured in a way that you get your basics right, and you can at least step into a skill or try acquiring a skill that you were not really exposed to before. So the practica comes in the commons module before the electives start. So this was a time when we were learning. So some of us do come from a sociology background, but I'll speak for myself. So I haven't really seen people or the communities from a very non-medical way of looking at things. I've been very clinical, but practica, you have to find your own question, and you have to work with like 7 people who have different questions. You have to come together, brainstorm, and then move forward in the process. So we chose to look at lives of security guards, and it was the first time that I was going on field for a recce, for observation, and then getting questions from the field and then discussing them. Otherwise, as a researcher or as a clinician, you go with a certain set of questions in your own mind. So, Practica really helped there. So, our questions came from the field. The way we tried to answer them came from the field. We couldn't break barriers with security guards through interviews, so we came up with a card game. And that was possible because we had a designer in the team who could think that way. I would have never thought of a card game to ask questions, but a designer could. And we all came together and did the whole study on leisure in the life of security guards. So it was a great learning experience from the field, and it was something I would like. I keep reading about community based research or action research, but this was more of actually practicing it. It really helped. So places I've studied before also. I've lived in the house and been at an institution for 5 years versus living with 40 people in the same space, taking the same bus to the institute and back every day. Then we go back, and it's not just we discuss technical things, it has actually helped us build a community amongst ourselves to really, if we have a food issue at Stanza, we all get together and write an email. If we want extensions for deadlines, we get together and write emails. But that getting together is very much facilitated by living together. So I think it was. I've never lived in a proper hostel, so this was the best hostel life experience for me with the whole class. It's not like somebody's left out. Otherwise, hostels may you have like groups, but here it's because it's only 40 people. It's also very cohesive. Amongst the master classes, I think Aru's master class was it was very insightful. Like it, I wasn't very happy after the class. I was questioning everything that I know about development, about the way we work. So he talked about where the word project comes from, and it still hasn't left me. Whenever I see an advertisement for a project, I know it comes from a very different kind of thinking, which is more of the military way of doing things. So when I look at the word target in a project, I'm like, okay, I know where this comes from. It grounded a lot of what we are doing, and we don't really pay attention to. So the paradigms, as Gautam talks about, that this is how development happens, or you do project-based work, but what is it that you're actually doing? So Aro's masterclass left me with a lot of questions. So masterclasses helped that way. Yeah. So UFP has really helped me clarify my own thoughts about what I want to do. So I am going to focus on two things that I really like. One is home health care. So in the urban context, it's happening everywhere. We take care of older adults or a patient at home every day, but it's not really linked to the healthcare system directly, and it's not talked about for a variety of reasons. So I think I'll focus there, and I might end up taking some time after internship for independent work around it. Or the other thing that I really am interested in, and that the electives really got me more interested in sustainable food systems. Like, irrespective of whichever disciplinary background you belong to, you are a human being and you need to figure out what you are going to eat. And that itself is so complicated, and it is going to become more complicated with the changing climate. So it's one thing I feel obliged to study and also very interested in. So those two things, yeah.